So, Jacob, last month you published an article on your Substack, The Pharos Chronicles, with the intriguing title, Welcome to Your Nightmare, the Externalization of the Agentic State. And the subtitle, by the way, reads, The Agentic State is an instrument for an even tighter control of all activities on Earth and a dream come true for every aspiring dictator who wants to play God. So,
yeah,
that's what we're going to talk about. The agentic state, this agentic state thing, what it means, and who the people are who want it and are getting ready to create it, apparently. Thank you for joining me, Jacob.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And first, a little bit of information about you. You're from Sweden. You're in Sweden right now. You're a Swedish researcher. You're an author. You're also a musician and also a lecturer. And you did your PhD in technology, so that's very
technology and
social
change.
I know, technology and social change. When was that? Which year?
Between 2008 and 2012.
Okay, well, that was a pretty prescient PhD topic you chose then. Technology and social change.
Yes, it was. It was very fitting concerning what's happening after with everything, and especially since 2020, with how society has changed with the help of technology.
That's right, exactly. Yeah. And you have written several books.
Yes.
So your latest book, I think, was released just a short time ago in December 2024, and it's called The Temple of Solomon.
Yes, that's
there it is. Okay.
There it is.
And then you also wrote two other books, one about the Rockefellers, about controlling the game, Rockefeller controlling the game, and another one which is called the Global Coup d'etat, the fourth, and you're well prepared. This is great. There it is. The fourth industrial revolution and the Great Reset. From that's also from 2024.
Well, it's not like I wrote all these books in 2024. It's just these English versions, editions of Global Coup d'etat and Rockefeller. It came out in 2024, but the Rockefeller book I wrote like the main part of it in 2016 already, and it was out in Swedish in 2019, and later the first edition in English in 2019.
Okay.
And then the Skyhorse signed me, and they also released this Global Coup d'etat that was written in 2020 during the COVID madness, and it was out in December 2020 in Swedish, but it wasn't until October last year.
Okay, well, that is. I was wondering about you. There you are, writing all these books that come out in 2024. Pretty amazing. The Agentic State. What is that? What is the Agentic State? What does that even mean? Tell me about the Agentic State and how you came across this white paper about the agentic state.
Yes, the agentic state, it's essentially governance with the help of artificial intelligence. So that's what they refer to when we talk about agentic state. But the agentic state, it's run by Agentic AI. And with minimal human participation in decision making and managing society, because it's a lot about how government operations will function in the future. And I found this as I was writing another article about the BRICS. They wanted to launch a program for smart cities. And I wanted to check how this was connected to the World Economic Forum network. So I went into the World Economic Forum websites for their centers for the fourth industrial revolution. And during then I found out that they have started a new center in Berlin called the Global Government Technology Center, and also that this center had a sister center in Kiev in Ukraine, and had a close cooperation with United Arab Emirates, because they are very, very huge in the implementation of these new technologies that comes out of a declaration of a fourth industrial revolution from 2016.
Yes, exactly. And this fourth, it's interesting that's how you founded through this website about the fourth industrial revolution. Actually, it's quite interesting with this fourth industrial revolution. I can just I'm quickly going to share my screen because I'm going to pull that up, this fourth industrial revolution center that they have, that the World Economic Forum has. So here you see it's World Economic Forum Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And I'm going to reject. I always reject cookies. I reject all the cookies I can. Yeah. Always. All right. So here we go. Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And it says empowering leaders to unlock the potential of frontier technologies, something like AI, and accelerate their inclusive and sustainable adoption. That's actually really typical, this emphasis on inclusive. That is also in this white paper about the Agentic State all the time, and sustainable. So climate, getting the whole climate change agenda in there as well. And then there's just this, this blurb about what it is. Yeah. Mission is to serve as a future-oriented global platform to empower leaders to unlock the full potential of technological progress, et cetera, et cetera. And then when you scroll down, this is where it gets really interesting. There they list these initiatives, and they have the very first one that they list is this AI and machine learning initiative. And then you came across the, as you just mentioned, this it's called GGCT, Global Government
Technology Center.
GGTC,
TC, yeah.
Technology Center. And it sounds like some sort of German high-speed bullet train or something, this acronym, right?
Yeah.
So I want to, and it's let's just have a quick look at this thing, because it's a new thing. There we go, Global Government Technology Center, and they shorten it to what do they shorten it to?
GovTech.
Exactly. Yeah. GovTech. GovTech is all over the place. GovTech, which stands for Government Technology. So here we go. There it is. The one in Berlin. And as you just said, they have another one in Kiev. And they both, I think, opened them when? Like December 2024?
Yes. So it was an initiative that started it was declared at the World Economic Forum annual meeting in Davos in January last year. And then they started the center in the autumn.
Oh, interesting. So they announced it in January of 2024. Then they opened it in Berlin in 2024, December 2024, and also in Kiev in December 2024. Correct? In both these places. This here is the website, Turning Technology into Public Impact. And so the reason I pulled this up is because I think the website itself is so revealing. If you, for example, look at this, Jacob, here. Technological progress is fundamentally transforming the relationship between the state, citizens, and the private sector. What the heck? Fundamentally transforming? So what do they mean?
Well, they mean that they will let the machines or the AI do the decisions instead of humans they will just take care of us. And also they declare in the white paper that they released that this will change what we view as a democracy. But they think that, we think it can be somewhat democratic, even though, because we will actually take data from all citizens, analyzing social media and every interaction we do. They can actually detect emotions and how people feel about certain decisions made. And this can feed back into this AI system, which can adjust the decision-making process. But you as a citizen won't be directly involved in elections in such a society. It's a cybernetic society based on feedback loops. You are just a little cell in this world organism that this AI system analyzes in real time. So it's a fundamentally different thing from what we have today. That is, if they implement this fully. One thing with this white paper, it's a discussion paper on what could be achieved with this. But if you go into other things that has been written about AI governance, it's very evident that they wish to create this in the end. And also they call this the Global Government Technology Center. And I think that is also, it's like you have this experiments in the beginning with, here we have Berlin, we have Kiev in Ukraine, and that's Ukraine. That's a country that you can basically do whatever you like with because they are in a war. And other laws applies to a country in law, so it's easier to test and implement things under those circumstances. So in the end, they will likely connect all these pieces and governments, GovTech AI systems into one whole. And I have studied this, the process with the United Nations and their Global Digital Compact and the Pact for the Future. And I concluded that that's the kind of system that they want to bring alive in the end.
Right.
An autonomous system for decision making.
So, you just refer to the white paper as something that is evolving, and they call it version 1.0 and talk about the next version, which is going to be 2.0. They just jump right from 1.0 to 2.0. Yeah. I was surprised about that. I thought they were going to go to 1.1, but no, they announced that in the fall they're going to have 2.0, big jump. And you also talked about the cog, how people will become a cog in this system yeah. that is driven by these agents, by these AI agents that are not human. These are machines. These are computers, and that reminds me a lot of Hegel, because Hegel, he had this idea of the state being the new God. The state was the God. The state was like the sun around which everything revolved. And people, the function of the lives of individual people was to serve the state, to be a cog in this big system, all for the state. And the state was God, a horrible idea that then, fed into the Marxist philosophy. But I think there's a distinct similarity between this idea of the agentic state and Hegelian philosophy. And it would be interesting. I'm by no means an expert on Hegel, but it would be interesting to hear from people who are experts on Hegel if they agree with this or not. And then you also mentioned the fact that emotions will feed back into this GovTech super system. I guess because through wearables they can, I don't know, measure our blood pressure and heartbeat and.
Yes, of course. That's one thing. But it's almost we have sensors everywhere. We have cameras. We have and social media. What we think, what we share, and so they can measure anything.
Mm-hmm.
And base their system on it, and just and it's not like it's not a system, but because it's someone deciding what's a good society. And that's a difference from a system that really comes from the grassroots and what we want to achieve ourselves. So it's someone that is deciding the ethical boundaries for this. And if the feedback loops comes up and it's the wrong things, then it's just, okay, how can we adjust this so that the citizens do and feel another way, but achieving the goals that we have for this society. They don't want a revolution. They want people to, with sludging and nudging, doing the right things. So it's this behavioral science with and how to, like Pavlovian dogs.
Yes.
So it's and you can find this if you go into United Nations and what's in the Pact for the Future. It has a lot to do with behavioral science and how to make people act in a certain way.
Well, and certainly the word nudge comes up a lot in this webinar that they did. They did a webinar recently about this white paper. The white paper came out in May 2025, and then they did a webinar where they talked about nudging people a lot.
Yeah.
So you talked about the ethical boundaries. It's from reading this white paper, it's not really clear to me what the ethical boundaries are they say at the beginning that they leave the entire ethics question, they pronounce. So they just leave the whole thing to the side, and I don't know if they'll ever come back to it. Or what is your view? What are these ethical boundaries that are implied in the system?
I think it's the UN agenda with the Sustainable Development Goals. It's the climate change agenda. It's about the planetary well-being, how we act as humans, and all these and the relations between humans. So that's what's going to be fed into the system, because World Economic Forum are in a partnership with United Nations since 2019. And the mission is to implement the Sustainable Development Goals, but with the technologies of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Mm-hmm. So and if you go into, they talk about resilience and polycrisis, and that's what we as humans do. The actions we are doing, it will have consequences, and that is what this system is designed to act upon. And they talk about acting upon emergencies, And they describe in this paper how that this emergencies like pandemics, extreme weather events, cyber physical attacks, financial instability, disinformation campaigns, and conventional warfare. And this system, it will recognize patterns, and it can counter this development with deployment of intelligent systems. And they also use simulation infrastructure. In order to prepare for such scenarios, and that is the use of virtual twins that will of ourselves, with all the information about ourselves fed into this and these models, and then they can prepare for different scenarios if things are getting out of hand.
Right.
And
Jacob, once they have a virtual twin of ourselves, they might not even really need the original one. What do you think? Just be
yes.
kind of annoying to have the real thing around.
Yeah, because the real thing, it's we don't really act as they wish all the time. But if you have a virtual version, it would be much better. But one thing that is quite alarming in this, it's that, and it's stated in this report, that when a crisis begins to unfold, AI initiates the first steps in crisis response before human-in-the-loop structures have time to react. These agents will work alongside increasingly autonomous physical systems such as drones and robots. This sounds like it's taken from the Terminator movies.
Yes, it absolutely does. It's frightening. Yeah. But, to come back to these ethical boundaries, because it seems to me that whatever serves this higher good, like, let's say, climate change or whatever else they have, all their sustainable development goals, all the stuff that they came up with, whatever serves those goods is permissible and beneficial even, which means that they're really, well, what are the ethical boundaries in a case like that? They don't really exist, because you can do whatever needs to be done in order to achieve the goal. And who is deciding all this? Well, right now it seems to be it's the people who are putting the plans together for this agentic state. But once this thing is up and running, as you just said, it's kind of doing all this on its own, and people are no longer, they have this expression of, or they differentiate between in the loop and on the loop. So if a human being is still in the loop, it means the human being can actually say, no, stop, I don't know, we are going to do it differently from what this AI agent wants to do. But when people are no longer in the loop, they are just on the loop and kind of watching, and maybe they can, they're not really necessary anymore. And then the AI agent will be the one in charge.
Yeah.
So we are going to go into that. You already quoted something very interesting, and I want to go into that a little bit later. But I would like to come back to this website here about the GGTC, because that in itself is so revealing. So if you look, for example, here, the GGTC, so this Global Government Tech Center, is a first of its kind initiative. So the first one, probably the first one of many that they are planning to erect in other cities, that systematically connects national GovTech, government technology ecosystems, with a global network. And that's interesting here, with a global network of experts and practitioners to inspire and inform GovTech agendas worldwide. So tell me about this, because I found this really revealing. They are talking about national GovTech ecosystems, right? And then right in the next expression, they are talking to connect those national GovTech ecosystems with a global network of experts and practitioners to inspire and inform GovTech agendas worldwide. Sounds to me like they are deathly afraid of some national government, like, let's say, Sweden or Norway or Germany or whoever, the United States, doing their own thing, using AI according to how they see it best. It seems to me that is what they want to prevent. So they want these national GovTech ecosystems to be embedded from the very beginning with this global network that they are erecting, that the WEF and well, the United Nations and etc. that they are erecting, connecting it with this global network so that there is no way for them to go their own way and find their own solutions. Is that how you interpret this?
Yes, absolutely. Well, you have to start on the national level in the beginning, but I see that everything is connected to the signing of the Pact for the Future last September, because it's after the signing they started these centers, and this pact it's about digital global control in the end.
Yes. So, and they want to.
That is the way, and it's all about the big agenda 2030 or agenda 21 that agenda 2030 is a part of, and it's about mastering the technologies of the future, as the former now chairman of the World Economic Forum said at a meeting in Dubai at the World Government Summit, that those who masters these technologies, like the Agentic AI, will be the master of the world. So right. That's Klaus his Schwab. Words. Yeah.
Yeah. Klaus Schwab, exactly. Yep. That's right. So they want to make sure that they are in control of this, that this doesn't slip out of their hands. I sense the kind of worry here on their side that it might slip out of their hands, that they might be overtaken by events, because they are spinning out all these things all in December. Well, they did it very quickly. They announced it, and then they spun out all these different groups and agencies in December 2024 very quickly. And look at this sentence here after that one that I just read. It says, by fostering global collaboration and delivering actionable insights, we empower governments to convert technologies into real value for their societies. That is so the hubris in this. We empower governments. So who is we? Who legitimize them to empower governments?
Yes. So this is the this is how a technocracy is run. This is very technocratic. It's the experts. It's those who control this, the engineers. They are in charge of the system, not the government. You won't need any government.
And when I watched this, and you probably watched that too, this webinar that they did about the white paper.
Yeah, I did.
The director, Manuel Kilian is his name. He's German. He is the director of this GGTC thing, and he kind of organized. He spoke at this webinar, and also the guy who wrote the white paper, his name is Luukas Ilves, or he's the main brain behind this white paper and the lead author. So when you listen to that, these guys, certainly Manuel Kilian, he is not an expert. They have so many questions. They are so they have basically very little clue about how this is going to develop and how this is going to work out. They don't really know themselves. So much for the experts that are building this.
Yes, yeah, they are the builders. So they follow instructions, of course, from those who have come up with ideas. The trustees of the World Economic Forum. And also those who are running things behind the scenes at the United Nations. That's the kind of masters that want to be in charge of this system. But they will use the engineers and technicians and experts to do this for them. Mm-hmm. Because the masters themselves don't have the knowledge for this. They need people that build the technology for them.
Yes, and then they will say, "Oh, but it's the experts who came up. It's not us. It's the experts. Yeah. They are the ones who know how to do all of this," which is a complete lie, because they are just acting. They are just in the way, receivers of orders, as you just said. And they will
and that's
execute.
The same thing with the politicians of today, that don't really run that much anymore. They are more puppets. They are on television. They read the teleprompter, but the real decisions are happening in other places.
Yes, that's correct. And they are also probably completely overwhelmed with all of this. They do not understand AI as most people, or they probably fear it. They probably use it to a certain extent, but they don't really understand what the hell is happening with AI and where this is all going and what the problems are and what the dangers are. And they are probably, I would think, they probably don't have the time to really research this and form their own opinion. So when an infrastructure like this thing here emerges with this Global Government Technology Center and all these partnerships, etc., that are telling them, look, here's the solution, just sign on and you are safe. Nobody will criticize you because we are standing behind you and going to defend you if anybody criticizes. I mean, they are going to say, oh God, thank goodness. I'll just go along with that because I have no clue.
Yeah. No, yes, they don't have any clue, and it's always based on a decision that's been made earlier. So they just say, okay, it's decided. Here's the solution, and we just continue with the agenda.
Right, right. And if you look, I just want to before we move on. So they say here on the website of the Global Government Technology Center, we impact through 4 key value streams. So let's have a look at these key value streams. Maybe you can say a few words about them. They have one that's called agenda setting. That's what they really like to do, right? To set the agenda. I mean, yes, the whole thing, I mean, it's also glitzy but if you look at it, the whole thing is really quite pathetic. I mean, and really pathetic. And it's so brazen and so hubristic and so in your face. They are setting themselves up and then expect everyone to follow. And they've been actually pretty successful at this. So they're setting the agenda. Then they're doing all this networking to make sure that everybody is on board and can't get out, because these networks are like prisons. Once you are nicely ensconced in the network, you're probably never going to get out of it. Then they have intelligence and insights and capacity building. So these 4 value streams, go a little bit into each one of them.
The thing is, it sounds very much like my doctoral thesis. I wrote about both those who set the agenda and how they have this, and they need a network to get out all the ideas and act through a network and assure that everyone follows. And also a network gives if you control a network, you control a lot of actors in the network. So it's a control mechanism. And intelligence, GovTech Intelligence Hub. And that's very interesting. Also, the use of intelligence, because you need to know how things work out, so that you can get this information and how to adjust in how to achieve this, and capacity building, national training programs. Yeah, that's very telling as well, because it's essentially all about controlling the whole situation. And with you, if you control the national training programs, of course, I don't know. I can see they don't want any opposition to this, essentially. So it's a very, very controlling mechanism in order to achieve the outcome that they aim for.
Yes, and it says here, look what it says under capacity building. So they graciously make these national training programs and online courses accessible across borders. Isn't that nice of them? Mm. And then it says, enabling civil servants to learn from one another and strengthen collective capabilities. Again, you see here, first of all, they're the ones who create these national training programs so that everybody is being indoctrinated with the same stuff, right? Because that's what it is. It's like an indoctrination.
Yeah,
they don't want anybody to think outside of the box or to, please do never think for yourself about AI and how AI should be used anywhere in the government or elsewhere. So, and then they also have online courses, of course, accessible for everyone, but they enable civil servants. So they have to make sure that the bureaucrats and all these different nation states are going to be on the same page, that they are kind of building like a meta structure, a super national structure here, making sure that there are no dissident voices or as few dissident voices as they can possibly have.
And it's when I see this, it's very similar to strategies that they have developed before, that comes from out of the Aspen Institute in the United States, and also McKinsey. It's a lot of McKinsey thinking in this, and how and that's I actually have a kind of a handbook from that originates from McKinsey, and that's about how you as kind of the leader will influence everybody else and take control over the policy process. So this is right out of a playbook on how you achieve this, and it's and one thing also, it's just out there. You can just read it, and I have seen the same kind of things before. I was studying the European Union energy policy, and they are very open with it. They publish this kind of papers that they really tell how we are doing it, but it's like very few people actually read this and don't understand how this works behind the scenes, but they are very, very open with their intentions and how to achieve their outcomes.
Indeed, they really are. Yes, that's right. And here, when you look at the latest news, so first they refer to the Agentic State white paper, which we will go into, and then they just refer to, there's the GGTC Berlin and the Global Government Technology Center Kiev. And so these two guys, so they just spun out. It's so interesting. They just spun out. They just created the GGTC Berlin. They just created the GGTC Kiev. And now these two together, the two new ones, together with the World Economic Forum, now launch another one. They launched the GovTech Intelligence Hub, which is an interesting thing that we should look into. They did that in the same month where they published, where they did the Agentic State white paper, 12/12/24. So, and then they also established the GGTC, I guess, I don't know which one, the one in Berlin or Kiev or both of them, who knows, establishes cooperation with CDTO campus in Ukraine. That also happens in December 2024. They were in a big rush in December 2024, right? They also in December 2024 have the United Arab Emirates become the founding partner of the GGTC, the Global Government Technology Centers, I guess both in Berlin and Kiev. And in the same month, this Unternehmertum, which it's a German word, actually. It means just like enterprise-ship, becomes the GGTC's first knowledge partner. And then also in December 2024, Germany and Ukraine launched the Global GovTech Board, which is also a really interesting thing. So they're spinning out all these things, and in the same month, they're in a big hurry, right?
Yes, this is. I mean, it's like the WEF is working. It's a business operation. It's a business plan. You decide upon a task, and then you execute. So it's so they have prepared for this for a time, and as I said, I think the trigger is the signing of a Pact for the Future with all the nations in the United Nations, and with this Global Digital Compact, and then we just push the button. They are well prepared, and has been for years in doing this.
You're right. They are well prepared, and they know exactly how to create very quickly an organization. And they have the money, they know how to do it, they have the contacts. It's easy for them to do this. It seems to me it's easy for them to build up new networks very, very quickly in this kind of way that we can observe here a little bit as it pertains to artificial intelligence and how to use that in government. But let's have a look at. I would like to have a look at this thing here, the CDTO campus in Ukraine, because that's very interesting. But before, I just wanted to mention that this CCT. Why can I not pronounce this thing? This GGTC
Global Government Technology Center.
Right, awful thing. It was created by the World Economic Forum, as we know, but also this. What was the other one, Jacob?
Yes, it was French IT consultant Capgemini.
Yes, Capgemini.
Yeah.
And also this GovTech Campus Germany. That also played a role, right? The GovTech Campus Germany. Now, what is interesting about this GovTech Campus Germany is that they have something to do with the federal government of Germany. So this is just like some sort of a front of the government. So like an NGO that is funded by the government.
Yeah.
So you see the penetration of the German government in particular in all these institutions here. But let's have a look at the CDTO campus in Ukraine. CDTO. Yeah. This is the GovTech Campus Deutschland, by the way. We can just have a quick look at this. Yeah, look at this image here. Technologies, GovTech Campus Germany, technologies for the future of government and administration. And then
so they have decided what the future will be.
Yes, they sure have. For all of us.
Yeah.
We have to make sure that we are all aligned on the future, because we can't have people who might have different ideas about the future than they do. Look at this weird picture. Look at this woman kind of sliced up, and then every slice of her face is a little bit moved to the it looks very dystopian how they sliced her up there. So here they say digital innovation and technological resilience. There's the resilience thing again of the state and administration. They're really worried about their state falling apart, right? It has to be resilient. Are the driving issues of our time. Did you know that technological resilience of the state is the driving, together with digital innovation, the driving issues of our time? Now you know.
Yeah.
So with the GovTech Campus Germany, the world's first innovation, development, and learning space of its kind. Wow. They're so proud of it. We are creating ideal conditions for the modernization of the state and democracy. There we go. Modernization of democracy. They don't tell us how they're going to modernize democracy here, but apparently they do
in the white paper.
we know from the white paper. That's right. Exactly. But let's go to the other one, to the one in Ukraine.
Well,
here we go. There's a CDTO campus. And it says here on their website, CDTO campus trains leaders of the new generation who will become the driving force of digital transformation, locally, regionally, and nationally. And the CDTO, this is an interesting acronym because it stands for Chief Develop. So CDO is apparently the Chief Digital Officer in a business, CDO. But CDTO is the Chief Digital Transformation Officer.
They love transformation.
As long as they control it.
Yep.
And down here, you can see who is funding them. They are all listed. It's very nice of them to tell us that. You see USAID, which doesn't exist anymore, but we know it's a cutout of the CIA. And a lot of their programs are, of course, or most of their programs are, I assume, still running, that they are now taken in by the State Department.
Yeah, exactly.
To the State Department of the United States. So they are financed by, I guess all this means that they are funded by all these entities here, by USAID, by the East Europe Foundation, by the Ministry of Digital Transformation of Ukraine. Interesting, they have such a ministry. Does Sweden have a Ministry of Digital Transformation?
No, we have a minister of digitization, and I've had but that minister has other areas of responsibility as well.
Okay.
Yeah, having to do with infrastructure.
Okay. And then there's the Visa Foundation. There's a German Society for International Cooperation. I was just kind of really surprised that all the stuff is happening in Ukraine, a country that is fighting an awful war right now, and they have time to spend on all this digital transformation stuff. But you said it's because they can, it's like a good test bed, because they are so dependent and so, helpless in a way.
And they their laws during war, it's not the same as our laws. They can essentially do whatever they like, and applying these war laws. So they can test things. And they are essentially a vassal state run by the WEF and also the great powers behind WEF.
Look, it's interesting. It says in 2020, so that was before the war, before Russia invaded Ukraine. In 2020, the Ministry of Digital Transformation of Ukraine established the position of CDTO. Wow. What do you make of that? So that was before the war.
Yes. Well, of course, they have started these projects early on, and they have developed these bonds with WEF.
Estonia. I have just heard about that. Estonia has been really far ahead of other states in terms of using AI for government, making government more efficient, more effective, all this stuff, digitizing things, making it easier, putting lots of data online, making it easier for citizens to do certain things that they need to do. But I hadn't really put that into any kind of context with the Agentic State. But they started that a couple of years ago in Estonia. However, the lead author of the paper, I think he grew up in the United States. I think he has an American accent, and he went to Stanford University. Yeah. But his name, Luukas Ilves, he might be from Estonia. Maybe his parents or grandparents emigrated.
Yeah. I mean, he is, and he has been the chief information officer of the government of Estonia.
Right, exactly.
So he's been very involved with the Estonian digital policies.
He's been very involved. So I looked him up on LinkedIn. He is an interesting person. There he is, Luukas Ilves. So he says here in his little blob in the profile, below the profile picture on LinkedIn, working to save the West. Well, he's modest there. Isn't he working to save the whole world?
Yeah.
He is the ex-undersecretary for digital and government CIO, Estonia. And right now he's the advisor to Ukraine's, what on earth?
Digital.
Digital.
Minister of digitization, I think. Something.
Okay, so let's have a look at him. So right now he is the advisor to the Deputy Prime Minister at the Ministry of Digital Transformation of Ukraine. Has been doing this for 11 months, and he is working on the future. He's working on the future, so AI, new services, and ensuring the maturity and sustainability of digital Ukraine's achievements over the past 5 years. He is also this international non-resident fellow at this International Center for Defense and Security in Estonia. And he was a candidate for the European Parliament in 2024, didn't get elected. And then he was for quite a while, he was the Undersecretary for Digital Transformation at the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Communications of Estonia. So this guy is extremely well connected. Worked also in other positions in Estonia. Very interesting person, and he's the lead author of the white paper. I would like to have a look at some of these other things that they spun out. Here, we looked at the CDTO campus in Ukraine. I would like to have a look at the hub, the Global GovTech board, and also the GovTech Intelligence Hub that they created. So let's go to this hub first. Here's the GovTech Hub. Here we go. Because that is also very interesting. So the GGTC and the WEF together created this GovTech Intelligence Hub. It seems to be, the rule seems to be you create one of these things and then that thing creates another thing, maybe together with another old thing. And then that new thing, maybe together or alone, creates some other things. And in no time, you have a huge interconnected web. So this GovTech Intelligence Hub, what is that?
Let's have a look at it. And what it says on
yes, exactly. Let's do that. Because they are as you said, they're very open about what they are doing. They are connecting, so they say here, they're connecting governments, technology, and academia with GovTech intelligence to enhance public service delivery. So they say, okay, it's Berlin, Global Government Technology Center, World Economic Forum, and Kiev, Global Government Technology Center, these three things. And then they have featured insights. You can jump to all these things. Why Germany must rethink digital transformation and build a digital public infrastructure. Should governments act like startups? You can jump to all these articles. And what I found particularly interesting was the about. So I went to about to read what is this about this platform. And they say, transforming public services. So the hub serves as a global platform, of course, global, where experts from governments across the world, presumably, technology providers and academia come together to curate intelligence on GovTech, ranging from actionable insights, strategic guidance to best practices. So this is, I would say this is kind of the hub you go to in order to find out what you're supposed, what the going wisdom is with regard to GovTech. If you are maybe, I don't know, someone working in a government in some country.
Yeah, probably, yes.
And it bridges global perspectives.
Yeah,
because you don't want to have national perspectives. You want everything to be global. Foster, it's always the same. Global perspectives foster cross-border collaboration and accelerate the adoption of transformative solutions. Yeah, we already know that it's going to be fundamentally transformative for our governments, this whole GovTech stuff, for a more transparent and sustainable public sector. Well, sustainable public sector. What is a sustainable public sector?
That could mean anything. Using the word sustainable is...
Because wouldn't you think, if we have all this great AI that makes things so much easier and faster, we could fire like 90% of all bureaucrats and save a ton of money?
Yes. And that's what they want to do and want to achieve. And they have, I knew the World Economic Forum, they have released a report about this as well. And they say this is the next big thing with GovTech. And it's, I think they said like $30 trillion or something like that. It's what's going to be invested in this. And that connects to those who will profit on this transformation. And that is, of course, the big tech companies, because you find them in the background. It's not like it's only governments. This is a public-private partnership. And that's what the WEF is. They are promoting these partnerships with governments. And now they want to get rid of the people in government and instead have their own system taking care of the government.
Oh, absolutely, and you're so right. The governments are completely incompetent. I mean, that becomes clear. That's their opinion, and I think they are correct about the incompetence of governments when it comes to AI. And I didn't read 30 trillion. I read the number 10 trillion, like an investment opportunity of $10 trillion. That's a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
So of course, this money is going, I mean, if there is this investment opportunity, it's going to be the big tech companies, of course. Who else? And we already see, like in the United States is partnering with Palantir, for data gathering and data analysis, has huge contracts with them. It's not, the governments themselves do not have the knowledge. They don't have the technical expertise to do any of this.
Yeah.
Completely impossible. So highlighting shared knowledge is another thing that they are going to do on this hub, recognizing the value of shared knowledge. We welcome content-related contributions and partnerships to enrich the hub. I don't know how many partnerships they have right now. This will ensure, but I'm sure there will be people to jump on board, because there is money here. There is a lot of money here. There's a lot of influence. There's a lot of career potential. This will ensure it is the vibrant and inclusive resource for driving innovation and excellence in GovTech that we aspire to be. And it's also like a safe job. Where can you find a safe job these times? Well, if you get into this kind of stuff, this GovTech, and how to shape it and how to plan the whole thing out, then that's a pretty safe job, I would say.
Yes, and also you find, and it's a part of the whole WEF network, and those who are implementing in governments and so on, they are in a big degree also connected to this network, like, for example, the young global leaders.
Yes, exactly.
And they are everywhere now. So World Economic Forum has worked with this prepared for this for a very, very long time, since the beginning of or the 90s, I would say, when we started these programs in the beginning. So we already have had a lot of these leaders in government. So it's not, and then now they can take it to the next level. We have already prepared everything. There's no real opposition, not in any government.
Well, there's opposition in the parties that they don't want to let into government, even when they are elected, like the ADF in Germany, which is one of the largest parties in Germany, but they are not even, despite the fact that they have legal rights to certain let's say chairmanships of committees and other things like that in the parliamentary system. They have every legal rights, just like the other parties. They are denied that right, which is completely lawless. It's illegal, and it happens anyway.
Yes, these things happens, and it happens with every opposing party that's not following the rules. They will be, if such a party will have influence, they will have been infiltrated and made more or less a part of a system. We have seen it here in Sweden with the Sweden Democrats that came in as a opposing party, but now they are more and more a part of the same system.
Interesting.
So I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, and when I to come back to this global intelligence, what is it called? This thing, the GovTech Intelligence Hub. When you scroll further down, I was surprised to find, look, this information. All of a sudden they switched. I'm still on the website of this intelligence hub thing, but all of a sudden they talk about the Global Government Technology Center Berlin again, and this was some really interesting text. So it says here, the Global Government Technology Center Berlin is the first of the World Economic Forum centers for the Fourth Industrial Revolution to focus exclusively on GovTech, and the first to open in a G7 country, which is Germany in this case. And I was just thinking, there you see Berlin with the famous Brandenburger Tor. How would you say that in English? The gate of Brandenburg, is that what it said? The Brandenburg Gate, I guess.
Yeah,
and
I guess so.
Yes.
I know, but we say in Sweden. I don't use the English word for it. So,
what do you call it in Sweden?
I think we say the Brandenburg Tor.
Oh, really? Wow, you are good. So, well, Swedish is a Germanic language, so it's easier for you. And then there's the Troika here on top. So they have this picture, and then Berlin and Global Government Technology Center. I don't know. I don't feel very comfortable about this, given Germany's history. I don't like
exactly. And I actually wrote about this in my article as well, with those connections. It's for me, it was, why did you choose Berlin regarding the history of totalitarian regimes?
Yeah, and then they say here, look what they say. They say GGTC Berlin empowers governments. Really? We want Berlin to empower governments all around the world? I'm not so sure that's such a great idea. To convert, especially especially given the fact that Germany is developing into a dystopian hellhole with, citizens being arrested for reposting some harmless content that might be slightly offensive to some asshole politician in Germany. What is going on in Germany is like really, really horrible. And here they talk about GGTC Berlin empowers governments to convert technologies into real value for their society. Yeah, I bet we need Berlin to help governments around the world figure out how to increase value for their societies. This is so arrogant. And then there's all this funding of the German government into these things. It's funded. They're like front organizations together with others, of course. But the German government is funding this stuff. And it says it here. Look how open they are. GGC Berlin is a non-profit entity and a subsidiary of GovTech Campus Deutschland. All of them connected. We talked about that before. An organization initiated and governed by the German federal government to co-build and scale digital innovations and solutions with the world's leading startups and GovTech actors. Wow. And then they also have a blurb here about the Global Government Technology Center in Kiev. And I also, the whole history of Germany and Ukraine during the Second World War, the whole thing is just creepy.
Yes, it's really creepy. And Sweden has a history of Ukraine as well.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Tell me about
it. Because before, it's kind of the old Swedish Empire. We lost it in Ukraine during the 1700s. The big battle in Poltava in Ukraine that was part of Russia at that time, but it ended the Swedish great power, and Russia took over as the leading power in Northern Europe after that.
That's right.
So it's like, and Sweden now has supplied Ukraine with lots of weaponry, and are a part of this. So it's like, okay, this time, revenge from what happened.
Yeah, you're right. Sweden had a huge empire. I mean, all the way down, as you said, into what is now Ukraine, and Russia was a fearsome country for quite a while.
Yeah, and actually, you know, Russia. That's the name Russia. It comes from the Swedish Vikings. The Rus in Roslagen in Sweden. So these Vikings went to the area of Kiev and founded Russia.
So you know,
we have these historical connections.
So Jacob, when Putin invites you next to the Kremlin for breakfast, you know, he had this discussion with Tucker Carlson about Russian history. And since Tucker doesn't know anything about Russian history, it was very easy for him to pick whatever he wanted and made up the history as well. You can tell him that actually Russia and Ukraine should be returned to Sweden, because you have some historical
Swedish Vikings,
you have some historical rights there as well. All right, so that was the other organization I wanted to point out, this hub, this intelligence hub. So the expression digital public infrastructure, Jacob, I came across that a lot when I looked at all these documents. What is digital public infrastructure, and why is it so? What's the importance of it? How does all of this fit in here? And what does the United Nations have to do with it?
A lot. Actually, it was during, here we have the G20 group. And the G20 group is very important. A lot of people don't talk about the G20. They talk about the BRICS countries and the G7, West and the East, and developing economies and the developed. But G20 is all these big economies in the world, the largest 20 economies. And during the presidency of India, because they have each country involved in G20 have a presidency for 1 year. This year it's South Africa, but it was India 2 years ago. And in India, they decided to we have to have develop this digital public infrastructure, and they said for a one Earth, one family, and one future. So it's very globalist. It's all encompassing, and the policies in this infrastructure, what comes in is of course the United Nations agenda, because when you go back into it was not just India that came with this proposal. It was behind, you find the United Nations Development Program. They issued a report about this, and this report, you can also find the connections to WEF. So one country says this is the topic for the year, but what feeds into this is the real power structure behind. And I would say when I read about the Global Government Technology Center, it fits right into the thinking of this public digital infrastructure, because it's digitizing all operations that a government is doing, and connected to the wider big goals for a global society. And there you find parts like, for example, digital currency, and how you shall achieve climate goals with climate change and so on, how to prevent terrorism, and everything is in this report. That also shows the connections with this wider network.
I just pulled
and
up
that
this
they
website
working
here.
Together with it. There you have the website here.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So it's the UNDP, which is the United Nations Development Program.
Yeah.
So there's a digital they call it DPI. The acronym is DPI. And you see here, they say it's a set of foundational digital systems that forms the backbone of modern societies. DPI enables secure and seamless interactions between people, businesses, and governments. What you ask yourself, well, what does the United Nations have to do with it? What does the United Nations Development Program have to do with it? It's at the forefront, they say. UNDP is at the forefront of supporting countries in designing, implementing, and governing their DPI. So they are all over it.
Yeah.
By fostering by fostering safe, fair, and interoperable digital systems. This is the fair digital systems. UNDP helps countries accelerate their progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals, with DPI playing a key role. Wow. So there they are, the Sustainable Development Goals, and DPI is going to bring us closer to their fulfillment, according to this.
Yes, and WEF helps the countries in the world to develop these systems, and GovTech is one of these. And we have a fintech as well, financial technology, and but all these systems connects, but will be run together. And we find this with digital identity. That's one of the most important parts of this system, and also with this kind of AI governance over us, and building virtual copies and so on, you have to have this digital identity in order to find the connect the information to the person. So it's very very important, and also with digital payment systems that they also say it's a part of achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, and transferring money to the right people in this system in order to fight poverty or whatever, hunger. It has always been, that's what I saw when I was studying the Agenda 2030 in the beginning. It's not about these goals. It's about creating a digital system. That's what it's for. These things, the agenda that we're talking about to the public, it's just a sales pitch. It's sounds good, but they want the system, and I think it's very very telling with what's happening with we have Donald Trump with Stargate project and all these big projects. We have the Doge and so on. This is a part of this thinking, but in that case, they don't talk about Sustainable Development Goals, obviously. Instead, they say, we will need a lot of energy to run this. We will need nuclear power. We have to drill because it will take a lot of energy to run these systems, and it's don't go hand in hand with what they say we want to achieve with the Sustainable Development Goals. It's quite the opposite.
It seems to me that this digital public infrastructure is building the ultimate, or at least that's the ambition, the ultimate panopticon, where you have all the data, everything that you can get your hands on, digitized, and you can access it seamlessly across borders, whatever, and you can use it to control, not just, to control everyone across borders. I think the border thing, borders don't count anymore. An interesting question, however, is with the United States. I agree with you with Stargate goes in exactly the same direction, building this digital public infrastructure, huge investment, building AI agents, lots of military, of course, driven. I think it's probably to a large extent driven by the military and the military application of AI and AI agents in the military. But under the Trump administration, you see a clear effort to decouple from this global network of the UN and the WEF, the WHO, etc., etc.
I think that's a front of it. I don't consider it to be that when we go to the next stage of this, because we have one influential player behind the Trump administration, and that's Peter Thiel. And Peter Thiel, he's actually in the steering committee of the Bilderberg Group. And he was kind of invited by two very influential globalists. It was David Rockefeller and Henry Kissinger, two men that were very old at the time. They needed someone new blood in the machine.
Oh, they invited Peter Thiel into the Bilderberg Group?
Yes, in the inner core, the steering committee of the Bilderberg Group.
So when was that?
I think it was like 2008, 2009, something like that.
So since then, Peter Thiel has been in the steering committee of the Bilderberg Group?
Yeah. So he gets to choose the guests for the meeting. He's involved in that process. And he has been in every Bilderberg meeting since that time.
And he is, of course, the mentor, or he was the mentor of J.D. Vance. And
yes. A lot of those people involved in the Trump administration, so it comes from his network. Mm-hmm. So he's very, very powerful. And what I think it's United, and this is also, I have another article. We probably have to get back to this on another occasion, because I have written a lot about the Rockefeller Brothers Fund, Rockefeller Foundation, and so on. And the Rockefeller Brothers Fund has written, or the president of Rockefeller Brothers Fund has written about the future of the United States and how they have to, in order for this to work in the end, the rest of the world has to view United States as not the leader of this transformation. They have to. It's like they have to quit some of the programs in the United Nations in order to convince the rest of the world to come together in United Nations. So that these nations don't perceive it's United Nations that's running the operation, because in that way it wouldn't work in the end. So that's what the Rockefeller Brothers Fund writes about it, and also the Stimson Center that has been very, very important in organizing, setting up all the things that concerned the Pact for the Future.
What is that center? What is that center called?
Stimson Center. You can find articles about it on my Substack. And the Stimson Center, it's very connected to the military establishment, as well as the roundtable groups like the Council on Foreign Relations and the Trilateral Commission and Carnegie and all these networks that operates behind the scenes in influencing and setting policy in the United States and large other parts of the world as well.
Right.
So, and they are very, very important.
Right. And you're, of course, the expert on the Rockefellers and also on some of these other groups. You wrote the whole book about the Rockefellers. Yeah, that would be very interesting. Also, the Bilderberg group, it's a Swedish group. They just met in Stockholm, I think, a couple of, weeks
yes,
or months ago.
I wrote about it. So I was in Stockholm at the time of the meeting.
All right.
It was a huge thing.
Did you sneak in?
No, no. It was very, very well guarded. But in the middle of Stockholm. It was like they want to... and Peter Thiel was there.
Peter Thiel was there. That's very interesting. Yeah. No, they don't want you there, Jacob. You... They definitely don't want you there, of all people. So let's see. We have been talking for about an hour and a half, and we haven't even started really digging into this white paper. So let's do it. Let's do a follow-up. And in this follow-up, we are going to dive into the white paper itself. But this interview, I think, was really useful because it gave an introduction into this confusing web of new groups that build these AI agents and provide intelligence and best practice and all the stuff that is being created right now while we speak. Probably.
Yeah. I mean, they probably decided this a couple of years ago that this would be the year of the AI. That's what I think.
Yes, probably, because it has been, it makes sense. They are even a little bit late, I think, because it has been clear for, I would say, at least 3 years now, maybe even 4, that this gigantic leap in AI is probably really going to be transformative. They're maybe even a little bit late. Maybe that explains why they're so furiously spinning out all this stuff. But I don't know. But so let's follow with a sequel where we go into the white paper, and I'm really looking forward to that, Jacob. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.